Shri Gurubhyo Namah Hari Om. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryaṃ Karavāvahai Tejasvina Dhītamastu Ma Viśvaṃ. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So, the final shloka, in the previous shloka, we said that the tallness, shortness, the birth, in the shloka, we said the birth, death, and the in-between transformation, growth, etc. They are characteristics of attributes of the body. And the doership, experiencership, etc. are attributes of mind. Okay. We said this. And I am Shiva, I am Brahman, I am not associated with these attributes. That is very clear. Now, we should have to have a doubt here. Definitely, we should have a doubt here. What is the doubt? The doubt should be, okay, birth, death, etc. are attributes of body. Doership, etc. are attributes of mind. Therefore, I am different from body and mind. The body and mind exist different from me. Otherwise, how can I say there is birth, etc. attributes of body? Then how can there be non-duality? That will be the question. So for that he says, matto nānyatkiñcidatrāsti viśvaṃ satyaṃ vastu satyaṃ bāhyaṃ vastu māyopaklṛptam ādarśāntarbhāsamānasya tulyaṃ mayyadvaite bhāti tasmācchivo'ham mattah na nānyatkiñcit atra asti viśvaṃ satyaṃ vastu māyopaklṛptam ādarśāntarbhāsamānasya tulyaṃ mayyadvaite bhāti tasmācchivo'ham. This can be interpreted in different ways. A simple way is atra mattah anyat satyam viśvaṃ kiñcit nāsti. Here, other than me, atra, here, other than me, mattah anyat, other than me, satyam viśvaṃ kiñcit nāsti. There is no other real existence, real creation, viśvaṃ, world. māyopaklṛptam bāhyaṃ vastu advaite mayyadvaite tulyaṃ bhāti. Second stand. The bāhyaṃ vastu, the external object is māyopaklṛptam, is associated with the maya and it's a product of maya. Therefore, advaite mayi, they, in the non-dual self, me, like the reflection in the mirror, ādarśāntarbhāsamānasya tulyaṃ, like the reflection in the mirror, bhāti, they shine. Third statement is tasmācchivo'ham Shiva. Therefore, I am Shiva. I am Brahman. Okay, this you can break it in 3 statements. It can be broken into 4 statements. How? Atra mattah anyat kiñcit nāsti. Simple. Atra mattah anyat kiñcit nāsti. Here there is nothing other than me. First statement. Second statement, satyam. Viśvaṃ māyopaklṛptam. Satyam, true. The Vishva, the world, is a product of Maya. Third, external bāhyaṃ vastu, the external world, external objects, advaite mayi ādarśāntarbhāsamānasya tulyaṃ bhāti. In the non-dual self, me, it shines like the reflection in the mirror. Tasmācchivo'ham Shiva. Therefore, I am self. Okay? You can break it in, you can understand it in two ways. We'll see both. But the second one is better. While I'll explain. Atra mattah anyad satyam viśvaṃ kiñcit nāsti. Here, other than me, there is no real world. That is what he says. But if you interpret it in this way, how? Atra mattah anyat kiñcit nāsti. Here, there is nothing other than me. Very clear. Over. The question regarding the body sense organ complex is completely devastated, completely destroyed. There is no point. There is nothing here other than me. Neha nānāsti kinchana. You can bring in the Shruti. Shruti says there is nothing other than self. Neha nānāsti. Here nāna nāsti. There is no duality here. nānyatkiñcid. Then the body sense organ complex, which you spoke about in the earlier one. How can you explain it? So he says, satyaṃ, true. Viśvaṃ māyopaklṛptam. True. Your question is true. What you say is true. Viśvaṃ māyopaklṛptam. The creation, the world is a product of Maya. Now, to understand this, I have to explain two things. First, I will explain two examples. This is an example which I use. This is not a traditional example. This is an example I use. First example, an elderly person and a baby, they are playing. They are playing hide and seek. So the child is hiding, and the elderly person, father or mother or uncle or auntie, whoever that is, that person is searching the child. Where is he or where is she? Where is baby? Where is baby? And you can see the silhouette of a person underneath this blanket. You can very clearly see, or you can see behind the door, the baby is looking, the child is looking from there. You can see that. But still, you will be looking everywhere as though you are searching. Really. Okay. Then you will say, oh, I think it is the child is behind the door. And the child from there, because of the innocence, will say, no, there is no one behind the door. Acha, there is no one behind the door. Okay. Finally I found you. Right? This is first story. The second story is, this is a proverb in Tamil, which is pinching the baby and rocking the cradle. That is the proverb. Thing is, this person pinches the baby and the baby starts crying. And to silence it, he starts cradling. To make peace with it, it starts cradling, rocking the cradle. Okay, two examples. Searching for the baby and rocking the cradle. Okay, after pinching. Okay, two examples. Let us keep the examples aside. Now, we'll come to the Vedanta. How do I see the object, external object? This is a very important point. So you have to understand. How do I see the external object? We know, if we studied properly the Vedanta, Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta, in every text I explain this. The mind transforms into thought. Mind does not produce thought function. Mind transforms itself into thought function, travels elongating, travels towards, not leaving the source. Without leaving the source, travels towards the sensor, through the sense organs, towards the object, takes the form of the object and becomes the object. The mind transforms itself into the object. You understand the object. That is why we are not worried about whether that is a real object or unreal object. There is no need for that. See, the mind transforms into a pot, real. The mind transforms into a snake, unreal. But still, the knowledge of pot is real. The knowledge of snake is real. That is the problem. So, the mind, to grasp an object, the mind needs to transform into thought function, travel through the sense organ and transform into the form of the object. Okay. Now, in dream, that is why dream is very important, I say. In dream, the Shruti says, Tatra saharasa yogaha atapanchanaha srajati. It creates, the dream creates the chariot, the one associate attached to the chariot, the horses and the path for the chariot to travel, everything. And later it says, Na tatra saharasa yogaha atapanchanaha. There is no chariot, there is no horses, there is no road, nothing. Now, in the dream, when we see the dream, you see the real objects. But in reality, there is no object. When you wake up from the dream, you understand, oh, that's just a dream. Okay, good. Or bad, whatever. Thing is, in the dream, you see the object. You may be a charioteer, or you may be standing a bystander who is seeing the chariot and all these things, whatever it may be. You see the objects. For perceiving an object, the mind needs to transform into thought function and travel through the sense organ and become that object. This is a compulsory process. Now, there is a hero, there is a villain, everything. Everyone sees the other, and everywhere there is a mind which is produced, which is transforming into thought function, traveling through the sense organ, grasping the other person. Everything is happening there. Without duality, you are the person who is creating all this duality. There is no sense of, there is no duality there. Similarly, here, nānyatkiñcidatrāsti, there is no reality. Neha nānāsti kinchana, there is no duality. Matra mattaha anyatkiñcit nāsti. Here, there is nothing other than me. In the world of duality, satyaṃ. Māyopaklṛptam, viśvaṃ māyopaklṛptam. True. The world is a māyopaklṛptam. Satyam means true, but when we say true, we don't really say true. Satyam is interpreted as ardha angikare, accepting partially. Satyam, when you say true, you are not completely accepting what the other person says. We say, okay, see, the world is okay, that okay, true. Okay, the world is a product of mayyadvaite. But it is seen externally and it seems to be real. For that he says, bāhyaṃ vastu advaite ādarśāntarbhāsamānasya tulyaṃ bhāti. Bāhyaṃ vastu, the external objects. Advaite mayi, in me who is non-dual, in me, ādarśāntarbhāsamānasya tulyaṃ bhāti. Like tulyaṃ, similarly, like ādarśāntarbhāsamānasya, like the reflection which is seen inside the mirror shines. This creation shines in me like the reflection seen in the mirror. viśvaṃ darpana drushyamana nagarim. Say, it is seen in me. So, wait. Like a mirror? Yes. Reflection in the mirror? Yes. But, what but? There is something which is reflected outside that needs to be reflected in the mirror for the mirror to have a reflection. There is an object outside which gets reflected in the mirror for the reflection to be existent in the mirror. So, I am not talking about this reflection. I am talking about that object. If you have this doubt, don't doubt this. Because this is a māyopaklṛptam. The Maya, like in the dream, creates the world of duality. Similarly, creates a world of duality and it shines. Now, what is that which creates the world of duality? Maya, true, but Maya is not directly doing it. Mind. What is negating the world of duality? Mind. That is why Bhagavan Bhashyakara and his guru, his grand guru Govinda Bhagavatpada, they all accept. They all say, Mana eva kāranam manushyanam bandha mokshayoh. Mind is the cause for Gaudapada Bhagavan in Gaudapada Bhashya, he says, Gaudapada commentary Karika, he says, Maneva Manusyanam Karanam Bandhamoksha. Mind is the cause for the people to become bound and liberated. Bondage and liberation is caused only by mind. When the mind is attached to the objects, it is a bondage. When it is relieved from the object association, it is liberation. That is how it is. So, the mind is what is creating the external objects as though it exists. The mind is what transforms into the thought function and goes towards the object to grasp it. Now, the first example, like the child and the elderly one who is searching in the hide and seek play. Now, the whole trouble is the mind. Mind is that which pinches by creating this duality, and mind is what is rocking the cradle by making you revert from that duality. Attachment, you are pinched. You give up attachment, that is rocking the cradle. Okay. So, tulyaṃ bhāti. It shines similarly. When you say it shines similarly, it is not bhāti. It is, oh, it shines. Bha prakashana is the root word. Does it shine? We say shines, eva shines, as though it is shining. It is not really shining. It is as though shining, because there is no duality. Nānyatkiñcidatrāsti. There is no duality of any sort. Why? Tasmācchivo'ham Shivaṃ. Since there is no duality of any sort, tasma, therefore, aham Shivaṃ, I am that self. Okay. Now, in all these 5 shlokas, there are 2 common points. One is the negation of the external objects, the world of duality. The second is to establish the self, aham Shivaṃ. That is why Advaita Pancharatnam, 5 jewels for establishing the non-duality. Where did it establish non-duality? When you inquire into it, you see there is no non-duality established. You said the world is not real, and the self, I am self. You didn't establish the non-duality. That is the beauty of non-duality, Advaita. See, in Dvaita, in the world of duality, whether you accept one or 2 or multiple does not really matter. That is world of duality. For establishing the world of duality, you have to establish object A as well as object B. And then establish object A to be different from object B. You have to establish both and difference also. Meaning, I have to establish me, the Jiva. I have to establish an Ishvara. I have to establish the difference between me and Ishvara. Whereas for us, as said in Advaita Siddhi means establishing the non-duality. That's the name of the text by Madhusudan Saraswati Bhagavan. Beautiful text. It's a very high-end text, not a simple text. Logic, lots of logic. Anyway, let's forget. The Advaita Siddhi, the beginning statement in Advaita Siddhi, he says, thus, Dvaita mithyatva siddhi purvakatvat Advaita siddhehe. Advaita non-duality is established by the negation of the duality. Negating the duality, you establish the non-duality. You don't have to establish, you cannot establish non-duality. Who is to establish non-duality? Negation of duality is what you have to do. That's all. You need to do. That's all. There is nothing else. That is why you, by seeing that there is nothing other than self, staying put that there is nothing other than self, and negating whatever is duality, whatever is limited, whatever is inert, and whatever is perceived to be non-real, you are establishing that absolute. That is why it says tasmācchivo'ham Shivaṃ. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.